in Gosford, after speaking about this up there, I realised that a lot of people have suddenly got upset. They didn't like Neil saying these things, right? So I moved down to here, to move into the bush, to not say anything to anybody. But I got dragged into it somehow. There was a forest getting cut down and something like that, and then I'd go and talk to a few friends, and before you knew it, they're bringing out of you what they want to hear. So, I mean, I was enticed back out to talk about this again. And so for 7 years now in Tasmania, I've been doing all this again. And yet this time, up to this point, I've achieved really well. Like a person like Ross Barwick, who would be here today and stand right by me and say, yes, I support the Spirit. And that I can recognise, Ross would say that he can recognise the Spirit in me. It's pleading to be recognised into the world. Because it's the Spirit in me which has brought me here today. It's not Neil's body. It's the Spirit in me which has been watching and monitoring all this world which is going on. All the time I've been born. Since I watched the television when I was 5 years old and I received the news of the world, because the farm in England to me was perfect, you know, like heaven was already there. But when Mum and Dad let me watch telly, my life started falling apart. My thoughts of heaven were suddenly getting blown up because out there in that outer world there was a mess and I didn't like it. And I thought, well, what do? I have to fit in there like everybody else and never say anything? Is that the idea here? Or what? So I've been, the last 7 years, 7 years ago, I set about to get a meeting together, similar to this, but just with my friends, right? Because I'd had great difficulty talking with the adults, because I was younger then, and the younger I was, the greater difficulty I had talking with the adults. And so I've waited to get to 35 years of age now. So the last 7 years I've basically just been monitoring and reading and writing it all down and making tapes and keeping it all in a good record so that I've got, for myself, I've sealed up what I need to know, right? And then if I've done it for myself, and I know that children are going to be born and they're going to grow up and they're going to experience no different to what I've experienced, then the record that I've sealed up, one day they can have. And then they will have the freedom that everybody on this earth who reads this Bible and waits for this beautiful return of the Son of Man to get everything back to being perfect, well then they'll have that. But until that day is recognised, we go on in this world where it's not coming, it's not getting there, it's going backwards.
Can I ask you a question? Just for my knowledge, or to decide my ignorance, why would the return of the Son of Man, Son of God, make any difference? Because he left a world that was ravaged and,
That's right.
Yeah.
In fact,
so is what you're saying is second coming will be a blessing to mankind?
Absolutely. To make the completion. So 99% of everybody on earth wins. Nobody will lose. Well, there'll be a small percentage who lose because they'll be really upset that they didn't win. But the 99% of everybody on earth will all have their freedom. And nobody has to suffer anymore, you see, because suffering is really in the mind thoughts of our daily life, and we see what's going on, and we suffer because we don't like what we saw. And if we didn't have to see all that going on, we'd have a great time. And I'm saying that God's going before me because God's showing up in this council. This council shows up with its information, the strategy towards 2000. That's God speaking to us. Without us hardly even knowing, really, we are absolutely working towards making a better northeast for everybody, for the community. And that, to me, is, I'm seeing God at work. But I don't want to be the only one seeing God at work. I'd like to think that we can all see that that's really God at work. But a true God that we really would like to see at work, and not a God who goes around like Andy just blowing everything up. Right? We'd like to have the full, true God.
I won't get what I think Andy's doing.
Well, Andy already knows. Andy said to me, I feel like I'm the devil or I'm the Grim Reaper or whatever. But for his purpose, like Bill has already spoken to me, because Bill Thorne's read this book here, Touch the Earth. And that's of a tribe of Indians who, in America, who have just poured out this spirit to the nation and saying, when will you white man see what's going on. But obviously only a few people have seen.
Well, you really got a job in front of you, dealer.
Yeah.
But perhaps,
Well, it's getting easier because I'm here today.
perhaps
It's getting
because
easier.
you come to North East, it might be easier. I'd hate to see you in Bosnia or.
Well, there's nowhere else in the world, I believe, that I could come out of and do
Right.
this, right? I've looked at all the world. The North East has to be the jewel in the crown on planet Earth for a second attempt at installing the truth throughout the world, because that's what I see as when anybody says to me, "Oh, the second coming," all I see it as is, "Oh, the truth return, the truth return." Right? That's how simple it is for me. All these words which I've been given, they're already in my heart as a child growing up. So all I had to do was adapt to my understanding of what those words meant.
I think even without that being said, the council also recognises what you're trying to do, and we're trying to work towards that.
Absolutely.
Same situations. We don't want crime. We don't want
No.
pollution.
But just imagine what can happen when this is taken seriously, right? If I am kind of like presented to the world, because I need like my brother Jesus had, he had his friends and they helped present him to the world when he went into Jerusalem, right? Now, I can't go into the world or speak on the radios or do anything like that until I'm actually presented to do that, right? So that's where I am today. I'm at this mode of, I'm trying to just raise enough awareness, not to scare people too much, but
No,
just
you'll have to be very careful with that.
to sort of come in softly, you know, that I'm looking for Mum to look after me, right? I mean, that's what I'm after. I'd like Mother to be watching me and looking after me. And I'd like Father to be saying, well, this is the wisdom you need to use, Neil. You speak like this, Neil. Don't say these sort of things, Neil, and do this. And if I could get that feedback, then that would be wonderful for me.
I can see what you're doing, I think.
And I'm,
The various religious groups in the area get airtime and all sorts of things, but Presley can't get the airtime because he's not ready.
that's right. And I won't even go and attempt to make airtime until I am recognised. What's that saying? Because I'm not trying to be too ego-centred and burst out into the world and say, here I am. I'm trying to do it the best I can, just come in quietly with help from my friends, and then let everybody go burst out.
Right.
The truth's return.
Tell me again what you expect of me or us as a group today.
Oh, right.
Just tell me.
Just again, well, what I'm after is physical showing of support that the work I'm doing is of essence required for the healing of this planet. And then the only way I can make that a showing is by signing and dating things. That's the only way I can do it. What I've proved is to write a letter and sign it and date it, and if I've got enough people who've written letters and signed and dated it, that makes anybody who looks at it go, wow, there's something going on here. Because it's just not Neil who's said this, it's many people who've signed and dated
I have no problem in supporting your principles, but I'd also perhaps say that they're my principles as well.
That's exactly right.
So why are you and I any different?
We're not. That's the whole thing about this. I am no different. I am just the one who's decided to be silly enough to speak like this.
You're going to be the messenger.
Yeah. Because I've got nothing to lose, you see. I don't have the huge establishment of other things or of nothing. I'm just a middle-based sort of person who's got enough integrity to hold himself together in this and not flip out and end up in World War E. Or just suddenly stop and dump on it all and then get angry with everybody. I won't do that. I just
You
can't.
haven't got any anger, have you?
No.
Very lucky.
I'm bearing record for Yvonne because, well, Yvonne was the first lady who came into my life after Mum. Right? When I moved here and met Yvonne, I considered Yvonne as my second mother and Bill as my second father because these people, they care about me. Wow. It's amazing. And so what else could I do except care about the ones who care about me? It's automatic.
Well, I really wish you well now, because I know that you really believe in what you're doing.
But like I said,